Donna Brazil, former interim chair of the Democratic National Committee. Karl Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff of President George W. Bush, both Fox News contributors. Donna, as you look at that map in Michigan, it's night and day. You know, we just went through it with Bill. What do you see when you look at Biden versus Bernie in that race?
You know, when I was a young kid, I was trained to look at Wayne County, which is Michigan, but tonight I looked at Macomb County, Livingston County, which is north and very conservative. Joe Biden, I mean, it's night and day from 2016 to today. We keep talking about the Obama coalition. Tonight, I think we're seeing an emergence of a Biden coalition, rural, urban. He's not getting the type of support that he needs among young people, but you know what? The turnout among women, as well as in the suburban community, it shows that Joe Biden has a lot of strength. Now, I want to be very clear. Bernie Sanders will have to assess his path going forward because the next big block of delegates is next week with 577. And then you have to wait until what I call the Yankee primary on April 28th to get another big block of delegates. So this is a key moment for Bernie Sanders' campaign, but Joe Biden clearly is coming tonight. I think Joe Biden has exceeded all expectations.
Well, I just want to point out one thing. 2016 exit polls had Bernie Sanders winning 55% of the white vote without college degrees.
Correct.
That's the exact number in our Fox News voter analysis for Biden tonight. A lot has been said about the African-American vote, but Karl, I mean, this is looking like it's a Biden, tapping into the same things Bernie did 4 years ago.
Well, some of it. Bernie didn't tap into the black vote 4 years ago. That was done by Hillary. But yeah, the rural voters who were, that map looked, as Hemmer showed you, looked a lot different because rural Michigan went for Biden. And this year, take a look at Missouri. Every single county is going for Biden. Yeah. All of those rural counties, and there are a lot of them in Missouri, that went for Sanders last time around, they're going for Biden this time.
I think one of the most, sort of the theme that you see when you look at the voter analysis and when you look at that last number that Shannon just showed us, can beat President Trump. 83% for Joe Biden, 60-something for Bernie Sanders. I mean, that's the spread that I think is more important than pretty much anything else that we are seeing at play here. And Joe Biden had almost no infrastructure, didn't campaign in some of these places, but this whole concept that everyone galvanized behind the fact that they think he can beat President Trump, Donna.
Let's listen to Biden from his victory speech tonight, talking about President Trump.
Replacing a president who demeans and demonizes people with a president who believes in empathy, compassion, and respect for everyone. It is my hope that the days of divisiveness will soon be over. We're a decent, brave, resilient people. We are better than this moment we're in.
That's it.
What a different tone from earlier today. I have to laugh because I'm one to get a little tough too. But look, Joe Biden was somber tonight. He was sober. He also applauded Bernie Sanders. He understands that he has to continue to reach out to Democrats, especially those who are supporting Bernie Sanders. But tonight you saw Joe Biden try to pivot toward the general election.
One of the questions is turnout, intensity. How much enthusiasm is behind Joe Biden if indeed he continues this road and becomes the nominee, Karl, when he does go head to head, if that's what happens with President Trump?
Yeah, big and tangible. I mean, we are several geological ages away from getting the fall campaign. It'll be on. It's pretty quick, but there's a lot that goes on, and this has been the result of an incredible 3-day momentum between South Carolina and Super Tuesday night, and that's the Joe-mentum, as you called it earlier. The question is, how sustainable is it? Now, it's sustainable enough that he's going to become the nominee absent some big change. The next possible, and maybe the last possible inflection point for Bernie is the debate on Sunday. It's hard to see how he could use that moment to win and change the contest. On the other hand, if Biden cooperates with him and gives him that moment, he could have a resurgence. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's the last moment I think that we're going to see in this campaign.
It sounds like they're going to pull some punches, though. I mean, it sounds like, just talking to the campaign earlier, that it's not going to be a knockdown, drag-out in this Arizona debate. It's going to be policy, it sounds like, but Bernie Sanders is not going down any other roads.
Yeah. Well, and look, He faces a fundamental choice. Does he sort of begin the process? If he doesn't do well tonight, he's not going to do well in at least 3 states. I think it's probably going to end up being 6. If he doesn't do well in next week's 4 states, he has to make a choice. Does he begin to toss it in and begin to unify the party? Or does he simply say, my object is to influence the platform and the choice of the running mate? So in a respectful way, I'm going to continue to rally people around the standard of the left wing of the Democratic Party and go into that convention with as big a block as possible.
Well, what's your bet?
Well, I think he sees himself as the leader of a movement whose goal is to transform the Democratic Party, the country, our society as a whole, our politics. So I think he continues to run. But, you know, this is a very personal decision, and he and his wife have thrown themselves into this contest not once but twice. And he's not a young man, and it's taken a lot out of him. But I think he stays in as long as he's got the resources and the enthusiastic support of his backers.
He's a passionate fighter, and he believes in the cause that he has put forward, whether it's Medicare for all or the Green New Deal. Some people dislike those policies, but Bernie believes in them because he's been fighting for those issues all of his adult life.